Spin to Win has returned to the new Lloyd Mr. Nissan. See our incredible selection in the Big Blue Building and spin the big wheel with your purchase. And at the new Lloyd Mr. Nissan, shopping local isn't just something we say, it's something we do. That's why Spin to Win features fantastic local prizes, including Lambert travel gift cards and more. And right now, the new Lloyd Mr. Nissan is overstocked. See our incredible new lineup and pre-owned inventory ASAP. We're in the Big Blue Building on Highway 16 West. The new Lloyd Mr. Nissan. We won't sell you a car, we'll help you buy one.
At Lloydminster and District Co-op, membership matters more. Because being part of a co-op means you're connected to something bigger than yourself. From long-held legacy by those who built our communities, to people you call family, friends, and neighbors. When you're a Lloyd Co-op member, you're an owner in a local business that prides itself on purpose alongside profit. You earn cash back. You help support causes that matter most, and you're building a better way of life for the next generation. Membership matters more.
Local people. Local news and events. Local sports. Local matters. For all things Lloydminster area, this is Live with Kurt Price.
Welcome to Spiro's and another edition of Love Story, brought to you by Spiro's and Richardsons Jewellery. And I'm Kurt Price with the new Lloyd Mr. Nissan. This is one of the versions of Live with Kurt Price that we're really excited to be doing, kind of a specialty show. And I'm with the new Lloyd Mr. Nissan, and at the new Lloyd Mr. Nissan right now, you can spin to win. And when people say shop local, we really hope you do shop local. And at the new Lloyd Mr. Nissan, it's not just something we say, it's something we do. That's why our spin to win wheel right now has all local prizes. So with your new or pre-owned purchase, you can spin the wheel to win local prizes, including gift cards to local businesses and a $1,000 travel voucher for Lambert Travel, which is local, of course. So come see us. We're in the Big Blue Building on Highway 16 West, and you'll love that you can shop indoors with over 100 new and pre-owned vehicles. Love Story today features Darrell and Yvonne Dunn. So thank you for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We're going to get to know them, and I'm excited to welcome back my co-host, who is my favorite person in the world, actually, Heather Clagus.
That's right. You better say that.
yeah. So, Love Story is brought to you by Spiro's and Richardsons Jewellery, and I love telling people about my experience at Richardsons Jewellery because I was so nervous to go in. And in fact, I'll be perfectly honest, I drove by Richardsons Jewellery on more than one occasion without going in. Like I would go and park in the parking lot and then drive away because I was so nervous about going in. And after I got in there and was shopping, I felt so stupid because of that, because it just made me feel so relaxed. And I didn't have a clue when I walked in what I was looking for, but apparently did okay.
Oh, yes. You did quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You liked it. Mm-hmm. You loved the ring.
I said yes. I like it.
Yeah. But you didn't say yes immediately because you didn't actually think I was that serious because you couldn't see the ring.
Yes, you got down on one knee. We were back home, my family's farm, and we were just outside because we'd gone for a walk, and you said that you had a question to ask me.
Well, we'd been together all day. We spent the day together.
Yeah, we'd been to a few places in my hometown of Desborough. We'd been to that area, and you'd been asking me a lot of questions throughout the day, which I thought was a little strange. And then we're outside. It's the evening, and
Halftime of the football game, I think.
just on the farm, and you say you've got a question you want to ask me, and you get down on one knee, and I'm like, this can't be real. I don't see that, you know, that nice box that everybody has and the big reveal. And so I'm kind of like, yeah, you know what Kurt's like. He likes to, you know, have fun. So,
we had joked about it before, actually.
yeah,
in front
so
of people.
I thought it might be a joke again and said something like, oh, where's this magic ring you speak of? I don't see anything. And you had got a ring case, but it wasn't the traditional larger one. It was like a slim case. And so when the ring's inside, when you open it, it kind of spins out. Cool. So here I am going, oh, that is a real ring. Don't I feel really bad right now because I just laughed at him.
And I'll never forget when I was explaining to Matt, like, how am I going to walk around with this ring in my pocket? I don't want to take it out of the box because sure enough, I'll lose it. But I don't want her to know, to be able to see this in my pocket. And I'll never forget, he's like, I got something perfect for you. And I just want to say how comfortable it was going in there because, like I said, I drove by a couple of times without going into Richardsons. And then they were so helpful. Like, just... Brooke took me through and was like, okay, now I'm going to, I remember what she said is, I'm going to step aside. I want you to scan the case and come up with the rings that catch your eye, okay? Because we've talked about this is a nice ring and that's a nice ring, but just make sure, scan, and then that's when I found that ring. That's when I saw that ring. I was like, I'd like to take a closer look at that one. So, and it ended up being, you really liked it. Were you shocked that I did good?
A little bit. But I never once thought, oh, maybe I should look at something else. I always thought, it's perfect. Why would I look for anything else?
I have to say, I like the ring, it wasn't too big, and you don't wear a lot of jewelry.
No.
And I know you're not clumsy, but you do bang into things and stuff like that.
I'm not going to say you're clumsy, but you can be.
But it wouldn't be one of these things where you're banging it on the door when you go in, right? Like, you do have to take it off when we play certain games.
Yes.
You know, card games and stuff. When
yes,
we
where you
slap
have to
on the
go.
table and
Yes.
stuff. You do have to take it off because it does kind of hurt a little bit. So it's big enough for that. But they did awesome at Richardsons. I really appreciate them. Now, I also, we're going to take a break, but I want to tell you about Superior Water. It's not just a name, it is Superior Water. Superior Water has 2 locations in Lloydminster, and they're open on Sundays to make filling those big blue jugs a whole lot quicker and easier. I know I really appreciate that. If you want great tasting water, though, right from your tap, that's possible as well. Call Superior Water and ask about Superior Water's under-the-sink reverse osmosis systems, 780-875-6636. I drink Superior Water because I like the taste. I got her hooked on it as well, actually. Open Monday to Friday, 8 to 6, and Saturdays and Sundays, 10 to 5. Plus, of course, their coin-operated location besides 7-Eleven on Highway 17 South. Now, we've kind of told you a little bit about our love story. We're going to hear the whole love story from Darrell and Yvonne Dunn in just a moment.
I'm Brian Zinchuk of PipelineOnline.ca. I used to be a pipeliner, and I've spent the last 15 years reporting on energy in Saskatchewan. PipelineOnline.ca provides comprehensive coverage of light oil, heavy oil, lithium, helium, power production including coal, wind, solar, geothermal, natural gas, and nuclear. There's a lot happening in Saskatchewan's energy sector, and Pipeline Online is there for all of it. No one else comes even close.
It's more than just taxes at LNA CPA. Assurance, accounting, retirement planning, estate planning, business consulting, financial consulting, farm program support, and bookkeeping. But yes, there is always taxes. The team at LNA CPA is committed to helping you achieve your best results and will be there to assist you every step of the way. LNA CPA, with offices in Provost, Vermilion, and Lloydminster.
Welcome back to Spiro's. Heather Clagus is my co-host, and today's love story, brought to you by Spiro's and Richardsons Jewellery, is Darrell and Yvonne Dunn. And Darrell, I think I met you here at Spiro's for the first time, did I not?
It may well have been.
In fact, I started to wonder if you ever ate at home.
Not really, no. I like Spiro. And I'm a little bit afraid of Maria, so I have to.
I love that. We're going to talk about your love story. How long have you guys known? What? You know what? Let's go back even a little bit further. You guys, this isn't your first marriage.
No.
But where did you guys grow up? Where are you from?
Ladies first.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I've moved 37 times, so I'm actually from everywhere, but my family roots are here in Lloydminster. I found out after I moved here that my grandfather managed the creamery here, and my mom graduated from Lloyd High School. It was called then Lloydminster High School, and I'm actually a member of the same church my mom was a member in. I have her Bible that was signed in 1954 by Reverend Morrison. So I came home after 37 moves. Your turn.
Well, I was raised in southern Saskatchewan and went out to Alberta to university, joined the police department, went back farming a decade later into southern Saskatchewan. So I've literally spent about half of my life in Alberta and about half of my life in Saskatchewan, in a variety of cities. And so, you know, the West is home. And we spent some time down east in, I guess it was
In Heather's home.
Yeah.
Home
And we spent
province,
about
yeah.
5 months down there, and that was an interesting exercise because it's totally different than Western Canada.
I love how you say down east, and then I say that, and she's like, it's not east. East is like Newfoundland.
So, yes, and when somebody says down east, I think Nova Scotia because I
Yeah.
also lived in Nova Scotia as a child. So when down east is in Ontario.
Yeah.
No, I
But,
agree with you.
but for
Yeah.
Darrell and I, east is Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
East
guys.
is the evil Ontario and Quebec.
Got it. We share
The
currency
center.
and language, and that's about it.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
And apparently women.
There is that, yeah.
When you say you moved 37 times, where did you spend most of that though?
Oh, I think the longest I've lived anywhere is Calgary. I was born in Calgary, and then we moved to Nova Scotia, and then we moved to Saskatoon, and then Wadena, Saskatchewan, and then I left home and lived in Foam Lake, and then Regina, and then Saskatoon, and then Prince Albert, and then back to Saskatoon, and then Calgary again. And I think now I have been in Lloydminster for 15 years. That's the longest I've lived anywhere.
Oh, really?
Yes, yeah.
So what brought you to Lloydminster?
Well, my brother owned a business here. It's since sold, and I'm still working there. But we were both kind of between jobs in Calgary, and we said, what next? And my brother phoned, and he said, hey, you guys, I need 2 people in Lloydminster. What do you think? And we talked to him on Friday. We were here on Saturday, and we moved here on Monday.
Oh, wow.
All of our stuff was already in storage because the place that we were living in had sold, and we were actually apartment sitting for somebody. So it was an easy transition for us. It took us a couple of weeks to find a place to live because at that time, Lloydminster was booming and there was no vacancies, but we did find an acreage. We lived on an acreage for a couple of years and then moved into town after that. So,
Yeah, it was time to get out of the corporate world and do
Yeah.
something else. And so up here, I had 3 different retirement jobs before I got into the PI thing and all the rest of it. So Lloyd's been good to us. It's been a lot of fun.
it's been great. Great city.
When he says PI, he means private investigator.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit too. But did you guys meet in Calgary then? Like, is that the
No.
common
No,
place?
it was Saskatoon.
No,
Oh, really?
I actually, I owned a restaurant and lounge in Saskatoon. I had a partner in a restaurant and lounge in Saskatoon at Circle Centre Mall. And my partner had skipped the country. And the day after he left, this guy came in, not Darrell, this other guy came in. And he said, I want to find your partner. And I said, well, he left the country and he cleaned the bank account out on the way out. And he goes, oh, well, he's been sleeping with my wife. So I want to track him down. So he and I became friends, and he knew that I was in trouble because the bank account had been cleaned out, and I was a single mom with 2 kids of my own and one other one that was dropped off on our doorstep and stayed with us for 3 years. And he said, I know this guy, he's a business guru. Do you want to meet him? And I said, absolutely. And I had sworn off men. I was happy being a single mom. I didn't care. It was good. I'd had previous marriages, and I was done. And then he said, where do you want to meet? And I said, not in my restaurant, like anywhere but there. I'm done. and we met in actually a lounge
Yep.
in Saskatoon. And Darrell and James, our mutual friend, James was facing me, Darrell had his back to me, and Darrell stood up, and before he had turned all the way around, it was like somebody had gut punched me, and I thought, uh-oh, I'm going to be spending the rest of my life with this guy. And I knew. I just knew. I absolutely knew. And how long after that did you know Darrell?
I stood up and turned around and thought, I am in such serious trouble.
Really?
Yeah.
Really. And I mean,
Yeah.
it was just bizarre. Now
Yeah.
the fun part was I took a look at her whole financial situation, all the rest of it, and helped her wind it down, quick claim
Yes.
it, walk away from it, and do so nice and clean.
Yeah.
And we just,
My knight in shining armor, literally, because he saved my bacon.
How many years ago was this?
30.
30 years ago?
31.
31.
So that would have been
93.
93? Yeah. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah. So,
And it's been an
Do you have
adventure
you had a
since then.
partner that, like, when we talk about partner, we're not like,
it was
you
a
weren't
business
together.
partner. No,
a business
no,
partner.
It was a business
Okay.
partner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I had some inheritance, and I wanted to have something that I could leave for my kids. Well, I left it for his kids instead, apparently.
So you never got any retribution?
He left the country. He's never come back. And I will tell you that if he tries to come back, he'll probably be stopped at the border because he owes Revenue Canada a really big pile of money. So they won't let him back in without arresting him. So, yeah,
So
that was the end of that.
I want to go back, Darrell. Like, you just think you're meeting somebody to help them out, and you said
Yeah.
you knew when she turned around, you knew you were in serious trouble. What was it about her that?
It's my smile.
Well, yeah, the smile was one thing, but it was just the presence. It's kind of hard to describe. You look at people and you see a presence. Some of them do nothing for you. Others are really interesting. And this one, it just, I don't know. It was like a jolt.
Yeah, it was electric.
And, you know,
it really
we had
was.
been,
Yeah.
we'd both been through the game twice before. And after the first shock, then we spent a lot of time talking about what we weren't going to tolerate in a relationship.
Yeah, we knew what we didn't
In other
want.
words, the things that we were not.
This sounds like a real romance here.
Yeah, seriously, right down to business. No monkeying around.
It does. You guys were serious like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Away.
but
So yeah, so
let's-
3
let's
Couple of weeks.
we have to take a step back, though, don't we?
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
because it can't be just, I like this guy. This, I guess we're working on our things. Bang, we're in a relationship, or
Right.
was it?
No. So yes and no.
Yes and no is,
Yes and
is
no.
a good answer.
So we had 3 weeks after we met, we had gone out a couple of times, and we sat and we literally talked about
Like without talking about your finances?
No, without that was done. That was
done,
That was
okay.
done. Kind of. It was an aside.
Right.
But no, without working, we sat down and we said, so we both acknowledge that this is where this is going. This is definitely a thing. And 3 weeks after we met, we were walking down by the river in Saskatoon, holding hands, walking along. Beautiful day. And Mr. Romantic here says, you're going to be my wife. And I said, I know. And he says, well, it might take 8 or 10 years. He said, but we're going to get married. And I said, okay. And so we knew. And it wasn't, it's funny because I think we spent 6 months talking. We didn't actually have a romantic relationship. We wanted this to work, so we took our time. We talked about expectations, and what we wanted wasn't as important as what we didn't want, because sometimes you don't know what you want in a relationship. Sometimes you don't know until you have it. And if you've had bad relationships, you don't know what's good. Right?
And it even went to expectations that aren't necessarily spoken, but are there. And for example, I'm not a flowers kind of guy.
And I really
It
like
just
flowers.
doesn't occur to me.
Yeah.
So tell the story.
So I really do like flowers. And he said, like, don't expect flowers on Valentine's Day or anniversaries. Or he said, we'll be lucky if we remember our anniversary. And yeah, okay. And he said, but if I think of it, I'll bring you flowers. I said, that'd be great. I love flowers. So we're in the grocery store getting groceries one day, and there is a beautiful bouquet of flowers. And I went, oh, those are stunning. And he says, well, here, have them. And he handed them to me. So I literally walked around the grocery store holding them like a baby. And we get to the checkout. I don't want to crush them. That's why they're not in the cart. So we get to the checkout, and I'm loading stuff onto the conveyor, and Darrell's loading up, and last item are the flowers, and he takes them and he goes, sweetie, we have to put these back now. There was two or three moms behind us in line, because it was a Tuesday morning. There wasn't a lot of business. Cashier was female. And all the women, everybody was women. I spent almost a decade in a police uniform out on the streets. And he almost died that morning.
And the looks I got from those three women was worth every bit of it. Then I gave her the flowers back.
I did get the flowers. I
hope so.
Yeah, I did. When he first said it, I went, and then I realized he was kidding. Right?
Yeah. When you're working together, are there those moments where I'm going to tell you a personal story? Is that what happened between you two? Is like you get to know each other because, well, actually, this happened to me, and there's little things. What was it during that made you realize this is a person? And I'll ask that to both of you.
A lot of it had to do with I think unconsciously appealing to certain characteristics that the other was looking for. If I'm not laughing, I'm happy. Now, make no mistake, I can get seriously nuts on the other side of the coin, but if you're not laughing, then you've got a problem, because everything gets to be too heavy. So a lot of the relationship in the wedding vows, part of it was we're going to have lots of laughter, lots of it. And the minister at the time kind of thought we had gone off script.
We had.
But that's key. And we feed each other lines, and we just have a lot of comedy fun. But you also have the other side of the coin where because of our backgrounds, because of our experience, when we have to deal with something that's serious, we have a process that we go through. And people talk about equality in a marriage. It really is a partnership. And, the whole idea that you're one, well, yeah, I suppose in a way, but nonetheless, you're two individuals, and you have two unique ways of approaching any kind of a problem. So the key is being able to talk about it, articulate it, identify it, all of those things. And when we say that we spent the first 6 months or whatever it was, talking about what we wouldn't put up with, that was part of it. How do you communicate? And how do you communicate without one person attributing motives that aren't necessarily there? So, all of those issues are important.
Yeah, I think in the sharing of our stories, and we shared a lot of stories. We both have interesting backgrounds. We have unusual backgrounds, both of us. They're very opposites. His upbringing was literally quite passive and easygoing after he was adopted, because he was in an orphanage till he was 4. So the first 4 years were rocky, but then the family that adopted him, he had a very easy, and I'm going to say easy.
Yeah, it was, relatively.
Yeah, relatively easy. The usual teenage angst, but my story is not that way. My story was never easy, and he taught me how to appreciate where I had come from, even though it was difficult. So in the sharing of the stories, it builds trust, and you cannot marry somebody you don't trust. You can, but it's not going to work.
You can, but
it's not going to work.
You pay for it.
Yeah, you do. You have to have honesty, and you have to have openness. And in the sharing, there wasn't judgment, and that was huge for me. No judgment and acceptance. And, you know, and not a platitude saying, oh, that's too bad you had a crappy childhood. No. It was, that shouldn't have happened. That wasn't right. And there was acknowledgement. And so I think that was when we started to share our stories. And we did. We talked so much, you guys. You've heard him talk, right? And he can go on a bit. but I also can get talking when I have a story to tell. And there were stories, and they were not always easy, but as I gained trust, it was easier to tell those stories, 100%.
And we still do. Whenever we travel, if we're going to Saskatoon or Calgary or driving wherever we're going,
no radio, no music, just
it is a constant yatter the whole time.
Yeah,
and it can cover just a massive range of subjects.
Yeah, it's just focus time. We love it. Absolutely love it, yeah.
Was there like an official first date or anything like that?
The first day we met. We went, so we met, and then the three of us went, we talked about business, and then I think we all needed a bit of a stress release. I know I did. And we all went out to a club in Saskatoon. Was it Midnight Magic it was called? That was our official first date. But then he came back a week later, because he was living in Regina at the time, and I was in Saskatoon. So he came back a week later, and that, I guess, was our real official first date. Do you want to hear a funny story about that?
Yes.
So he says...
Do I want to hear this?
Yes.
Yeah. So he says, well, maybe we should just... he had an apartment in Saskatoon because he was doing a lot of business up there. And he said, should we just get like a steak and a salad for supper and just cook them at the apartment? I said, yeah, no problem. So we get into a grocery store. Now, I have been shopping since I was 10 years old for groceries, right? I know a grocery store. I can marathon it. Darrell gets into the grocery store, and he's got this little basket, and I'm walking beside him, and this is his idea. This is his plan. So I'm thinking he's going to pick the steak. He's going to pick the salad. This is his thing, his apartment. We're walking along, and I realize, I don't think this guy's ever been in a grocery store.
Should I hang my head now?
Yes, hang your head in shame. Get the bag. So we finally get out of the grocery store. We have our steak and we have our salad, and we get back to the apartment. And Darrell's standing there, and he's got everything lined up on the counter, and he said, so what do you want to do? Do you want to do the steak or the salad? And I said, well, what would you prefer to do? And he looks and he goes, I don't know how to make a salad. I started to laugh. I said, maybe I'll just do the salad then if you could cook the steak.
I could cook steak.
He could.
I knew how to do that.
Yeah.
But I realized that at the age that he was when we met, and he was 42 and I was 32, he hadn't actually done any cooking really in his life, and kind of surprised me.
It does surprise me. I see him here at Spiro's every evening.
So true.
I grew up in a farm, small town nearby. Mom comes from that generation that she cooked everything.
Yep.
Did the laundry, did everything.
Yeah.
I walked out of there at 18 years of age to go to school and all the rest of it, and I had no clue what I was doing.
Fast
None.
food.
Zero.
Fast food became Darrell's best friend for decades.
And then at one point I became a Mr. Mom, and I learned real quick.
You did, eh?
Now, have you ever seen that movie Overboard?
Yep.
Where he takes the Chef Boyardee
Yep.
and the crackers, and you ask my sons about some of the food that they
That's a thing, isn't
That's
it?
the thing.
Same. They
and they
call
still
it
mock me.
Dad's stew. They do. They still mock him. It's good. It's very, very good.
So you guys have both been married.
Yes.
We're going to take a little break, and then
Yeah.
I want to ask you about what's different
Oh,
Okay.
in the relationship now
Okay.
than maybe in those previous marriages. But I do want to tell you about Wellings of Lloydminster. Now, Wellings is new to Lloydminster. It's a new place to live for adults 55 and over. And it's not only a new place to live, it's kind of a new way to live. Because up until now, this kind of thing didn't exist in Lloydminster. It's a community for those 55 and over. And they have these beautiful one-story villas with heated floor, garages, beautiful stove, microwave, and 2 or 1 bedrooms, and with the 2 bedrooms comes a garage as well. Gorgeous backsplashes too, by the way, but the thing that really struck me was the heated floor. Oh, that was really nice. I went for a tour with Darlene, and she was not only showing me one of these villas, but telling me how this community works and who it's for. And who it's for is for people who maybe don't want to go up and down stairs anymore, people who want to travel, people who want to live more, people who don't want to have to take that extra time when they come home to mow their lawn, shovel their walk, all that kind of stuff. They want to spend more time living. It is a new way to live. And it's hard to believe that up until now, this hasn't existed in Lloydminster. Now, there's no extra fees. There's no condo fees or anything like that. But the way that I can explain it is like, if you are worried about your parents even, and you're thinking it's time for them to start, saying the dreaded word that a lot of people don't want to hear, downsizing, it might be something that you seriously do want to take a look at, because downsizing might mean not having to worry about the shingles anymore. It mean not cleaning up the leak underneath the sink. It might mean you don't have to worry about getting up and down stairs. And Darlene can explain all that to you. 780-972-8537. It's called Wellings of Lloydminster. It's on the Alberta side over by the new Petro-Canada 7-Eleven. And she's such a nice lady. She'll take you through everything. 780-872-8537. We'll be right back with more of Darrell and Yvonne's love story.
At Jason Arden Associates Cooperators, we're proud to be a top-rated local insurance company that offers flexible solutions and expert advice for all your insurance and investment needs. We'll work with you to tailor your insurance specific to your needs, and we offer investment advice that always puts you first. At Cooperators, one of our core values is to give back to the communities that we live in. Thanks to the support of our clients in Lloydminster and area, in 2023, Jason Arden Associates has donated $40,000 to local nonprofits, charities, students, athletes, and other special events. How does your insurance company support our community?
How can you help support the oil and gas industry and jobs in Western Canada? The answer is closer than you think. Sell your scrap metals to PWM Steel. PWM sells scrap iron to Evraz, located in Regina. Evraz's #1 customer is the energy sector, building pipes and plates for the oil and gas industry. PWM Steel is your locally owned metal recycler and steel service center in the area. Plus, they're a strong supporter of the community. PWM Steel, your top steel supplier for Alberta and Saskatchewan for 40 years.
At Diamond 7 Meats, we work with local farm families to provide a high-quality product and a great selection for you. Try our mouth-watering smokies, pulled pork, roast beef, and more, made pure and natural with no additives or fillers. We offer custom processing, and our experienced team works for you to provide a selection of sausage, burgers, and jerkies made to your specifications. Take your grilling to the next level with a Yoder smoker. Complete the grilling experience with a Canadian-made, award-winning line of House of Q barbecue sauces. We're locally owned and operated, and we look forward to seeing you today.
We're back here at Spiro's in Lloydminster with a love story brought to you by Spiro's and Richardsons Jewellery. And we're talking about relationships today. That's what it comes down to. And at BioClean Disaster Services, their commitment is to your family. Damage from wind, fire, flood, and can put a lot of stress on any kind of relationship, and especially between a husband and a wife. You want to get your family dynamic back to where it was before the disruption. And that's what BioClean Disaster Services is there for. Their goal is to get you back to where you were before the disaster as quickly as possible. Yes, they're going to take the time to take care of your property. They're going to take care of your possessions. But the main thing that they know you're dealing with and what you really want is to have your family and that family dynamic back to where it was, enjoying those everyday mundane things that you took for granted before the disaster. They're local. BioClean Disaster Services, 1-833-246-8326. We're back into Yvonne and Darrell's love story, which up till this point, I'm going to be perfectly honest, has sounded like a marriage counseling session.
Really? Do you think so?
We don't want this in the relationship.
I'm not interested in this.
So do you want to hear the romantic
It's almost like there was a roommate agreement on like Big Bang or something.
Yeah,
here.
was there paperwork?
Was there paperwork?
Oh no.
No.
Do you want to hear?
I do want to hear the real romance.
So at year
Go ahead.
I forget what year it was, maybe year 2 or 3, we decided that it was time to move in together. My kids were grown up and away from home. His boys were younger and they were still living at home. And we wanted to be very careful of introducing a relationship. So we asked the boys if it was okay if I moved in, but I would have the basement bedroom. So that was not a problem. I stayed in the basement for about a year.
Oh, wasn't that long?
Oh, it felt that long. And then, and there were visits upstairs, but yeah, it was. And then it was good. And then we asked Carson, because Carson was the little lawyer. He'd been a lawyer since he was 2, I think. He's not really a lawyer, but his mind works that way. And we said, would it be okay if Yvonne moved upstairs into the master bedroom? And he thought that would be okay so long as we kept our pajamas on.
And at this point in time, he was about 8.
About 8, yeah. Oh, I love that.
So that worked out really well. And we just began our life together, and for a while, all 4 boys lived with us, and we were in a little 3-bedroom house at Mindapore. And then the boys caught on that we'd been together for almost 8 years, and maybe it was time we did something serious about it. So Darrell and I, with Carson, are heading down to Yellowgrass, Saskatchewan to see his mom. And his mom is 90-something, yeah. 92. And the big thing was we didn't want to upset her. She was very fundamentalist Christian, and he'd been married a couple of times, and she wasn't too keen on it. She liked me, and I know that because she shared her shoes with me, which was lovely because we had the same foot size. They were 50 years old, but I took them. But we're driving down to Yellowgrass, and it's an 8-hour drive from Calgary. And Carson has been giving us a really hard time, and he's the youngest, right? He's been giving us a really hard time. I don't know what to call you. I go to school, and you bring my lunch, and who's that? That's my dad's. She lives with us. He didn't know what to say. So he says, you guys should just get married. And then I could call you my stepmom, and it would be okay. And I said, well, we'll think about it. And we didn't want to rush into this. 8 years, we didn't want to rush into it. So we're driving to Yellowgrass, and about halfway through the trip, Darrell says to me, I think I'm going to tell Mom this trip that we're getting married. And I said, oh, okay. When? And he goes, I don't know, June? I said, okay. And then it's quiet again, and I said, so is that a proposal? And he goes, yeah, I guess. So that was our romantic proposal.
Yeah, but you got the ring.
I got the ring. I did get the ring. Yeah.
Do you have the ring then?
No,
okay.
We had them made, actually. We had them custom made. We had a friend in Calgary who was a goldsmith artist, and he created our rings for us. So, that was romantic because Darrell did design the rings. He did design the rings. So, there was some romance. But I think we're not as... He's probably more romantic than I am. I'm a little more pragmatic and practical, and when he does something romantic, I'm not really sure what to do with it.
It's such a surprise? Or?
It's like, oh.
It's always fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, oh, should I have done something for him?
What would be something that would be like, oh, he's doing something romantic for me?
Well, bringing me flowers.
He does that quite often?
No.
No.
So that's why it's romantic.
It doesn't happen often.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often. Or he'll say, let's get dressed up today and go to Spiro's for supper, right?
Well, can I answer this? Not to get maudlin.
Yeah.
But we through the whole relationship, we spend a lot of time paying attention to make sure that the other person's okay. Mm-hmm. Now that can cover a lot of ground. Mm-hmm. But after the bike accident, when her leg was so badly injured,
which was not long ago,
was June 25th.
7 months.
Yeah.
7 months.
I went. It was a freaky situation. I didn't see it. I heard it, and having heard it 15 feet behind me was as bad as if I'd actually watched what happened. But from that point on, she was completely incapable of doing anything for herself.
Yeah.
So
I couldn't even get my leg on and off the bed by myself. It was so badly shattered. I had no mobility. So
for a period of 3 months, every time she twitched, she got attention. I'm not a patient man. And my boys will tell you when they've got a bad cold, occasionally, well, go run around the yard a little bit and loosen it up and you'll be okay. It's like, and dealing with 4 boys is like dealing with a pack of dogs. So there's certain things you do to make sure that they're happy. But it was bizarre because I just wasn't prepared. I was the freak job in the exercise. I wasn't prepared to let her want for anything.
Yeah, that's true.
And once she started getting mobile again, then the response was, "Would you please leave me alone?"
It wasn't quite that bad, but I will tell you, his romance was, I'm completely bedridden. I can't get up or down by myself. He knows I love bacon. So 3 or 4 days a week, a man who had never cooked bacon before made me bacon sandwiches.
Aww.
That's love.
Yeah.
That's romance. That is, I'm in the morphine sweats because I have to take morphine for this leg, and he comes in with a basin with hot water and soap. That's love. That's truly love. That's everybody has a love language. His is usually, let's cuddle. Let's, he likes to be physical. Arm around, right? Mine is acts of service, but for the first time in 30 years, acts of service. And it was hard for me to get my independence back because he was so protective. That is romance to me. That is absolute romance. I wanted for nothing.
We'd spent a lot of time making sure you were independent.
Yeah.
Because our first 2 marriages, that wasn't part of the equation.
Yeah.
But in this exercise, if you're not who you are, then there's a problem.
Yeah. And I will tell you, the most romantic thing ever is the gift that he gave me by allowing me to be myself all the time. That's love. Absolute and total acceptance. He actually likes me, right?
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. You brought it up. The other marriages. What makes this one? Yeah, and Darrell was very open with me. I mean, we'd known each other for a little while, and he said, "Look, Yvonne and I have both been married twice before to other people, and I'm curious what makes this marriage last. What makes it stand out?"
I'll let her answer for herself, but as far as I'm concerned, on my situation, the first marriage was a child marrying a child, with both sides of the equation having severe bouts of idiocy, and it just didn't fly because of a complete and utter lack of maturity. And fortunately, it wasn't terribly complicated, so leaving it, both parties were able to leave it clean, quote unquote. The next one, the two personalities involved tended to be very competitive. And competition in a marriage to a certain degree is fine. But when it starts to go to a point where winning becomes more important than doing things together, then you've got a problem. And if the personalities are strong enough, you're mixing oil with water and ending up with dynamite. And one of the reasons we spent so much time talking to each other was to understand how much flexibility each of us were prepared to give the other. Because, I mean, expecting the other to change at that stage of our lives was seriously stupid. I mean, you're at a point where you're finally getting comfortable with yourself and now you've got to change. How about no? So identify those things so at least you understand, okay, she squeezes the toothpaste funny. Not my problem. Keep it in your drawer. And it's little things like that can blow up a marriage if you don't know how to deal with it.
For me, this one is different because it's built on trust. It's built on laughter, lots and lots of laughter. It is built on mutual goals. You know, we both have different dreams and visions, but if we can support each other in what those are. I gave a talk in church a couple of weeks ago, and one of the things that I mentioned was that when I had, last year I'd gone through a rough bit besides the broken leg. And when that period had passed, I wanted my time back to myself. I wanted to reconnect with my family, with my friends, with my crafting, with my quilting, with my, I wanted my life back. And he decided to run in the provincial election. So I gave up what I wanted for what he wanted because it was his turn. And it's about taking turns. It's about finding that ability to put your own wants aside, because they're wants, they're not needs, and help somebody else out in the relationship, right? Supporting it. It's
But
you got to
talk
lift
about
each
it.
other. You
You
got to
gotta
lift each other up.
You got to have some quid pro quo.
Yeah.
And you've got to recognize when the other is accommodating you, and that you don't necessarily keep an account, but there is a recognition that fine, good, go do what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And that's
And I'll
good.
support you.
Yeah, it's not a question
Right.
whether you give each
Yeah.
other permission.
Yeah. No. Never, ever. If you have to ask your partner for permission to do something, you are
got
not
a
in a good
problem.
relationship. If you can say, I would like to do this, let's talk about it. How can we make it work? Make it work. Yeah.
It sounds like you guys learned a lot in
Oh,
your
gosh,
first
yeah.
two.
Oh, yeah.
But those things don't go away. Like those marriages don't go away. They're always in your mind. Do you guys talk about those? Like do
Yes.
they like this happened in
Yes.
or I know you haven't been to this place, but I've been to this place,
Yeah.
and I've been
Yeah.
here with this
Yeah.
person. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
You
you don't skirt around those. You just
No, because
No.
you can't kill your history. Your history is part of who you are.
Yeah.
History is part of why you think the way you think.
And how you and also how you react to certain
Yes.
situations. So if he shows up late, which he never does, but my first husband was chronically late. We showed up to a wedding as everybody was walking out because he was always an hour late for everything. And I have an issue. So if he shows up late, I'm going to get angry. But it's not because I'm angry at him. It's because I'm angry at a previous situation in a previous relationship. So you need to talk about those things. You need to say, he'll say to me, he bugs me. He'll say, did you bring the nickel back? And I instantly like this, because in my first marriage, I wasn't allowed to have any money. And I was only 16, so I didn't know anything. But I hope I know more now. But I came home one day, I was allowed to go out and get groceries, but I was given a list, I was told how much it was going to be, and I was to bring the receipt and the money back. And I did. But somewhere between the grocery store and home, I lost a nickel. And for the next 3 years, I heard nothing more than I'm irresponsible because I lost a nickel. So he will tease me now.
You lasted 3 years hearing that.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, to be honest, but in all honesty,
hard.
I
That's tough.
had it was tough, but I had 2 babies. By that time, I had both my boys. By the time I was 18, and I wanted what was right for them. I didn't care about my own well-being at that point in time. He's taught me how to take care of my own well-being, but I didn't care about my well-being at that time. I cared about my boys, because I chose to bring them into this world at a very young age. It was babies raising babies. And I put up with it. When I left him, I weighed 86 pounds. I was a pencil when I left there.
Yeah.
Stress, just stress.
Yeah.
And, but so we tease each other about the other spouse's quirks, right? I'll say, oh, we're going to do this great big grand Christmas dinner, and he'll go and mention his second wife's name because it was always a production. It was always a big thing. So I like to tease him about it, and it keeps the humor alive in our marriage, right? And I would say, I can't tell you the last time we had a fight. I cannot tell you the last time we actually had an argument. Yeah, I cannot tell you. It's been years, and because when one of us gets annoyed with the other, we usually kill it with humor.
Either
right?
kill it with humor, or we will go and do something separately. Not in a huff.
No.
But just to be apart from the situation.
A cool
for them.
down period, and then we'll come back and discuss rationally.
You know, we're two very strong personalities.
Very.
And there's nothing wrong with strong personalities, but it can be dangerous if you haven't figured out how to balance them and how to communicate.
Yeah.
Well, I tell people this all the time because I think it's rare to have a couple that doesn't argue. And then you meet somebody who says, well, it's good to argue. It's good to have that argument. But for Heather and I don't think we have arguments. I know when she's annoyed with me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because I forgot to tell her something, you know, or she didn't know we were doing this and I made plans for this without telling her and stuff like that. I know she's annoyed.
I'm telling you, this is what we have planned. Yes.
Yeah. Like I know she gets annoyed, but she never holds it against me.
No.
Like I never feel like, oh, I've screwed everything up now.
Yeah.
You know, I never feel that
No.
way.
And it shouldn't be because it should never be. We all make mistakes. We all forget things. We all, you know, it's got to be a partnership. It's got to be, you got to treat your spouse like your best friend, because if they're not your best friend, what are you doing?
And respect the fact that you're two individuals.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to do things differently.
He likes cooked spinach. I hate it. It's gross. I love spinach
I like
salad.
to get her to
He
eat
won't
it
eat
because
it.
occasionally it sticks in it.
I like it on pizza, believe it or not.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Where did you guys get married?
Where?
Yeah.
In our backyard in Calgary. And
Did you?
all four of our boys stood up with us. And
We all wore Hawaiian shirts.
matching Hawaiian shirts and shorts. And
It was bring your own everything. We supplied the meat.
we supplied the meat.
It was a barbecue.
Yeah, our neighbor barbecued the meat for us. We had ribs and chicken. And everybody who came to the wedding brought something. Somebody even brought a wedding cake. I know.
Oh, really?
It was hilarious, but we just wanted low key. We didn't want anything big. And we actually, my sister sang at the wedding. His choice, his song, he picked it. It was a beautiful song. It was from Phantom of the Opera. All I Ask of You. Yeah, All I Ask of You. That's how romantic I am. Is that the one? and one of our sons had a friend who is actually a composer, and he composed a song for us that we walked out to. So it was really cool. It was really cool, but it was very low key in the backyard. I made sure the garden looked half decent. And we got married on June 30th. And do you know why we got married in June?
Why?
Because Darrell's other two weddings were in June, and he figured if he could at least remember the month, he'd be ahead of the game.
What was the significance of the Hawaiian shirts?
Yes.
They cost $7 at Sears.
Yeah, that's
Oh, we miss Sears.
I know.
it really was. We wanted it to be relaxed. So many weddings, when again you look at wedding number 1 and wedding number 2, you got the cake, you got the friends, you got the minister, you got the flowers, you got the whole thing, and it's a party for everybody but the couple.
Because they're so stressed, right?
So
Yeah. And I've never had a traditional wedding dress. All three of my weddings. No, the first one I wore a maternity dress. Sorry.
Shotgun.
I know. The second one I just wore a suit, and then this one I said, I'm not doing this. I don't like dresses. I don't own one. So
and it was fun. It was a
it
good
was
party.
so fun.
It was
Yeah.
it was a great weekend because
It was.
just nobody was wound
Yeah.
up. It was just fun.
Yeah. So the Hawaiian shirts was just because it was a good deal at Sears. I got 6 shirts for.
That was June 30th. It was warm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
$42 plus tax.
Perfect.
For 6 shirts.
Perfect.
So it was all about not spending a ton of money and having a lot of fun. So we did.
When it comes to romance, what do you guys like to do?
We like
I know
to
this
eat
place
here.
has a lot to
Yeah.
do with it.
No,
It does. We love to come here when Darrell Ammonrood is playing.
Oh, yes.
Darrell and I both play piano. Darrell plays guitar. I sing. Don't ask Darrell to sing ever. But we both love music and really love music. And we'll come in here and we'll just, when Darrell's in here, I could stay, we stay sometimes for 3 hours. Just because.
Yeah.
But that's
Talking
our,
to,
Talking, enjoying the atmosphere.
Yes, but that's our romance. I think that we there are times when we will go on a drive. We will hop into the old buckboard, and our vacations are go somewhere. Let's drive.
We did a run from here down along the Columbia to Portland, down to Northern California, back up the West Coast. And I mean, those kinds of drives, we went. Another one was through Montana, Wyoming, North and South Dakota, and so on. And it's fun because
it's just he and I,
and just jump in, and we'll stop wherever we want to stop.
Yep.
And
sometimes we'll throw our sleeping bags and pillows in, and we've been known to we've crashed at some pretty seedy places, but but it's all part of the adventure. I think that in order to keep romance alive, you have to decide what is romantic to you, and for us, that kind of stuff is romantic for us. It's just fun. It's just by ourselves. We tell the kids, we'll keep in touch, but don't expect a lot. And if we have a problem, we'll let you know. But it keeps it fresh, and it keeps us feeling young and youthful, right? Because, you get to be our ages and you don't always feel young and youthful anymore. So you get out and take a drive and experience new things and have adventures.
Is there anything you wanted to say or tell a story or anything like that we haven't asked about?
Well, honestly, in our 31 years, we have a lot of stories. Some are funny, some are not so funny. We, at one point in our life, we were homeless.
That close to homeless.
Yeah, we had again, everything was in storage. And Darrell had a heart attack. He had been working in the corporate world, and it was too much. And he had a problem with one of his business partners. He had a heart attack, and we just kind of were aimless for a little while. That's how we ended up in Ontario, actually. We went to Ontario to help out the fellow that introduced us.
Oh, yeah.
So
did a whole marketing thing from Sarnia right across to Niagara.
For
it was great.
Mexican imports, actually.
Wonderful to see the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. But if there was a point in our relationship that we were going to fall apart or argue or come unglued, that would have been it. That was about as high stress as we have ever been. And we've had challenges with all 4 of our boys. We've had all kinds of things, but I think that probably was the biggest blow to us personally, because we just, without the help of our family and friends, we would have been on the street. And I think credit goes to us because we were able to hold it together emotionally and put it back together financially.
And rebuild.
Yeah. And you have to be determined to make it work.
Well, the word, if there's a singular word that I think encompasses it well, it's partnership.
Yeah.
It really is partnership.
Yeah.
And there's as much choice to make the partnership work as there is just glue that puts it all together.
If you stop thinking of a relationship as disposable, then it becomes something that you build on and you work on and you create and make better, right? And every day is an opportunity to make it better,
Or be sarcastic.
Or
be
he
sarcastic.
threatens to push me down the stairs now that I have a bad leg, And
We enjoy that kind of morbid humor.
yeah,
too,
see, and that's our morbid
Yeah.
humor. And I say, you're not going to shovel the walk because you got a bad back, and then when we get home, I'll probably hand him the shovel. Because that's fun.
I'll call the kid next door and give him $20.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, thank you both. We have a little gift for you, courtesy of Spiro's.
Spiro's.
So that you can come enjoy a romantic one of those 3-hour nights.
Yep.
Yeah. Valentine's Eve, we're here.
There you go.
Not Eve. that
Yeah,
night.
we are here.
Yeah, Valentine's Day. We're here because Darrell's coming.
No, it'll either be a celebration or sackcloth and ashes, one or the other.
Thank you so much.
Thank
what a
you.
great opportunity to,
Thank
to
you.
share.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks.
Darrell and Yvonne Dunn.
it.
Absolutely. That's their love story. And once again, that's presented by Spiro's and Richardsons Jewellery.